What's up guys? If you've been following along the channel the last few weeks, you guys know I've been having a great time using some resistance bands, a platform, and a bar with that X3 system alongside my Total Gym or Sounding Bench trainer. So really excited with you guys to share a review on something similar, or maybe an alternative to something like that. Basically, it's another foot plate system where you guys can attach resistance bands and do a variety of different exercises. This is from Clench Fitness. This is their foot plate. So I got a chance to play around with this thing. Really very cool product. I'm gonna talk about the pros, the cons, how it kind of compares to something like this X3 platform. And then just finally break down some other situations or options or just setups if you guys want to take advantage of this system or this foot plate alongside something else. Now, full disclosure, Clench Fitness was extremely generous, sent me out that foot plate alongside their patented, really cool resistance training handles. I'll talk about these. I did play around things a little bit. I'll probably do a separate review for these things. Also, they sent me a bunch of some resistance bands, but primarily I'm just gonna be really honing in and focusing in on this foot plate. Now, if you guys do wanna take advantage of this product or anything else from Clench Fitness, you guys can use my promo code SBT15 to save 15% off your order. And as always, I will link anything else found below it or featured in this video down below in the description box. If you guys do wanna save some money on products, I recommend, as well as help support me and the channel. And while I always try to only review things that I have a genuine interest in and would recommend to you guys, I'm gonna give you guys my honest take on that. It's always hard to do, especially in situations like this. I should say rare situations where I get stuff for free, to be as honest as possible, because I know, especially this company, they were very generous, send me a lot of stuff, but I'm gonna be as nice as I can, but also I'll be as honest as I can on how I personally would use this and if I'd recommend it to you guys. Now, first getting into all the things I do like about this product, I first will say that the company itself seems like they're excellent. Awesome customer service, high attention to detail. I said most of their products are sourced out of the United States and are made in the United States. I think with the exception maybe the resistance bands and stuff like that. This thing is made out of a very heavy duty, very rock solid and sturdy polymer plastic. You can tell just by looking at this thing when you first pull it out of the box that this thing is very well designed. And that was probably the biggest thing that jumped out at me. I mean, it seemed like maybe you're getting like a giant cutting board, like you could put some sort of charcuterie platter here on top of this and serve this up for if a company came over, if you had to. But really sleek. I really like all the different handles. These aren't just kind of, I shouldn't say these are handles, these are really kind of anchor points for a variety of resistance band exercises. I'd say you could use, more so I'd say loop bands, but you could definitely use tube bands on this as well. I didn't try tube bands, but I assume you could kind of, ring around and anchor tube bands to this as well. Really like, if you guys see the up close kind of unboxing and initial kind of shots of this thing out of the box. Very sleek too. I mean, it's almost kind of hard to tell, but it's almost this really fine kind of material. It'll get like little scratches in here, but that's just gonna come with it as soon as you start breaking it in. I like how it has their Clench logo kind of drilled in here on the top right. And then if you flip it over, now you're gonna notice this is like kind of an added bonus to this, and you'll see this kind of in the video. I tried it without it, then I put it back on. They have these risers that they're sold separately. Again, very generous, very grateful they kind of sent this to me in my package. I wouldn't say necessarily it's required, but definitely if you're gonna do things like with carpet or you're gonna start doubling up on bands, you're definitely probably gonna want these risers. Now that'll make it kind of, I'm not gonna say be less sturdy, but you're higher off the ground, so it's not like you're gonna increase the idea of like tipping over, but if you don't have these risers on, one of the benefits is that you're kind of lower to the ground, so it's a little more stable as far as like it kind of like rocking, but this thing really shouldn't be rocking at all. You can see the biggest noticeable difference from this, if you guys are somewhat familiar with this product, is just the added kind of channels. So great channels just opens up a variety of exercises and ways to take advantage of this product compared to like say the X3 or other things that are out there. You just have one channel underneath, so this has multiple channels to kind of take advantage of. Now it seems to be a big concern with people with these platforms of wear and tear on the bands, and I said before, I'm gonna defend the fact the X3 will not wear and tear your bands if you keep constant tension. I've been trying this for a while with different bands, I've been totally fine. But with that being said, I guess if you were not keeping constant tension, not paying much attention to it, maybe that X3 bar might prematurely scuff up the bands. Notice, I can tell they paid very special attention to this and the way they kind of smooth over these edges on the grooves. So you can tell that was something they definitely put a lot of thought and consideration to. I'd say the product overall was very much built with a lot of detail and a lot of functional practical use in its design. Now you're gonna see me kind of performing some bread and butter staple exercises. I tried some novel things, even with the handles. I'll just say right up front, the handles, I'm just kind of waiting on the review because I'm trying to get used to them. There's a little bit of a learning curve with that. I honestly got a little frustrated the more I was kind of using them. But that's all I'll kind of say with the handles for right now. These things, you definitely can incorporate their handles, especially if you guys notice you guys did pick up their handle kits or their band kits. They tend to come in pairs. And so especially with these different anchor points on the board, the Clench Fitness, I think all their variety of products are kind of meant to kind of be built together. So if you got multiples of the same band, that can be a good thing to do a variety of different exercises, kind of looping things over your shoulders or holding on different like handles and anchor points. The only thing I don't like about that is obviously you're kind of dependent on if one of the bands breaks or something like that, you got to pick up another additional band. So I personally don't like using, two bands of the same size. I would just stick to kind of one loop style band. That's kind of what I prefer. And overall, I'll kind of say this throughout, I kind of like the more simplistic use of these kind of band bar setups. Now I do consider myself, especially in the Total Gym, a little bit more of a creative type of person with my exercises. I honestly didn't get that creative with this thing. I would highly encourage you guys, if you guys are a big resistance band aficionado that's out there and you guys really want to maximize this foot plate, subscribe to the YouTube channel. They honestly have an intimidating array of resistance band exercises and ways to take advantage of their products. I highly would recommend you guys doing that. The only caveat I would have, and again, this could just be my own little learning curve with this type of product and just these type of bands in general, my initial frustration with bands initially is because I find them kind of cumbersome to kind of set them up and kind of fine tune certain exercises compared to my Total Gym where I'm supersetting a bunch of things. When I really started falling in love with the X3 and these kind of foot plates is because I love that I can just slip the bands in the X3 bar, slip them underneath the thing and just kind of go to town on some great exercises. And obviously you certainly can kind of do that here. I just found when I started using this, I was surprised that I didn't want to go branch beyond that. I was sticking to a lot of bread and butter things of squats, deadlifts, bent over rows, curls, overhead presses. I did some good mornings with this. I tried different angles to kind of do bicep curls, even squats. So that's something cool. You can stand at different angles. So I wasn't just standing kind of widthwise. I was also standing kind of this way as well on the platform. So that's also pretty cool. It's definitely big enough where that's definitely an option. And this is probably more of an obvious point. It probably goes without even saying, but much more of a bigger platform. So if you're someone who's on the bigger side, you got maybe a taller person, you get one of a wider base, or you want more room between like squats, other exercises like that, where the bands aren't gonna rub against your legs or something like that. This is definitely cool, so that bigger platform is definitely a plus. Now getting in the cons, and probably the most glaring one is gonna be the price tag, where this thing is sitting at $297. It says it's actually on sale from a higher price, but I think they're probably just gonna leave it at $297. I have no idea, to kind of keep it competitively priced. Now that seems like a lot of money, but if you look at other competitive platforms that are out there, like the Harambe platform, which I also have a promo code down below if you guys wanna save, I think 10% on that. So check that down below in the description box. That one also goes for $299, has a similar kind of channel setup. I've yet to kind of check that one out. So the point is, I think you're definitely getting what you're paid for as far as like the construction and durability. This thing is gonna be built to last 100%, but it's definitely an initial high cost of entry to kind of jump into something like this. Now, another thing that's gonna be kind of maybe a detriment to some people is the fact that it comes, stock very low to the ground. So if you start kind of double looping bands, you're gonna find it's gonna get stuck pretty quickly. So I would definitely highly encourage you guys cough up some extra money and invest on the risers if you guys are serious about this thing. Now we're kind of getting to some like give and take here because yes, while you have a lot more space, it's a lot bigger, more versatile platform, some people might not like that it's this big. So the fact that, yeah, if you're gonna travel with this thing, you probably could put this in like a large suitcase at the bottom and travel if you're gonna like check this on an airplane or something like that. Granted, it's gonna add some extra weight to this, but it's a lot bigger, a little more bulkier to kind of travel with. A little bit heavier to kind of move around, takes a little bit more of a bigger footprint compared to like an X3 platform. And then because it is so big and wide, I had a little bit of a concern in my brain about premature wear and tear or maybe possible snapping of a band because you're kind of losing some slack initially because, what normally would be a lot thinner with that band coming out of like a smaller platform like an X3, because it's so wide, in some ways it's a good thing if you got like a smaller band to add more tension initially because it's already kind of got some pre-stretch to it. But I'm gonna be a little worried about the thing kind of snapping. So I found that, for some exercises, I didn't really like that it was so big. I kind of wanted a smaller kind of dimension. I did do things where I'd actually go this way and stand that way. It's big enough where you can even stand lengthwise. So if you wanted more of like a narrow kind of band tension, you could do that for some exercises. That might be kind of a better thing depending on if you're using their handles, you got some pre-tension as you kind of start pulling off. Even these cheaper J. Bryant bars, I found this to be a plus if you guys got this cheaper bar option. Again, I'll link this down below. This is a knockoff X3 product. Since it has this extra slack, I kind of found is a little more forgiving and kind of that pre-tension as you're kind of lifting off for things like deadlifts and squats. But I also found that since it was such a wider base, I found the band tension to be a little bit more uneven, or it was kind of giving and getting stuck to one side. This was very minimal, not to the extreme when I was using like the stepper platform where it's really wide, really big. Then the band tension was definitely uneven. It was kind of getting caught on one side or kind of moving around a little bit compared to the X3. But otherwise, those are kind of some minor things of as far as the actual width that might be an issue for some people. All right, so now I'm gonna give you guys my little personal thoughts and opinions based on my user experience from doing the band bar, resistance band stuff on a Clench Fitness foot plate versus the X3 foot plate. And it's kind of weird because objectively on the surface, this thing far surpasses this thing in its overall construction, quality, its versatility with all the different channels and anchor points. I still honestly found myself, I'm not trying to shill out for like X3 in any shape or the form because this again is an awesome product, but I found myself gravitating towards this X3 for some exercises. I think more so again, like I was stating, because this could be a personal preference, it probably is a personal preference. I kind of liked this smaller footprint for things like squats, bent over rows, sometimes for some curls. I just liked the kind of narrow, more of a narrow stance between these two. That was really the biggest thing. I also found that for certain exercises, it wasn't moving around as much, or I didn't feel the band tension as kind of prematurely taut an initial liftoff. You know, otherwise this thing's really hard to beat. I mean, I think if I just started and I just had this, I wouldn't even be thinking about this thing. But because I'm jumping back and forth to pull different products, you can see there are some pros and cons to each. But it's really up to you if you think the minor pros that I'm describing are really gonna make and break all the different versatility and options that you guys have with this type of plate system. So yeah, with all that being said, it is a very cool, solid system. Now, if you guys are looking to take advantage of something like this, maybe you're a viewer of the channel, you do most of your stuff on a Total Gym, you wanna take advantage of some sort of platform, a bar or handle, and some resistance band setup, yeah, you could pay the initial kind of fee and like maybe something like an X3 band bar system, get all that stuff combined together. If you wanted to kind of make your own, you can get like this foot plate if you guys like this particular foot plate and all its kind of versatility it has with it. Maybe say with like the Harambe bar, I think it's priced at like $119. I think that's on sale this month. Also a promo code again, shameless plug. I'll link that down below if you guys want to get like say that bar. You'd still have to get some bands, in which case that price tag is definitely kind of ramping up in cost. I certainly still defend and actually personally have a big preference for the X3 bar. I definitely love this thing, but as I've been continuing to plug, if you guys are looking for like an alternative option to that, this J. Bryant bar actually works good. And as I again also said in this video, I think the bad parts of this bar, having this extra slack, actually helps pair this nicely with this particular platform because of the extra width. You're getting to kind of compensate for that extra kind of premature slack that you got there. So this actually pairs well with this platform. You guys can wait for me when I do this review, but if you guys think this looks pretty attractive, you certainly can take advantage of the Clench system pretty much and get their foot plate along with their handles, their bands. Their bands are good. I will get into that kind of later. But that's really it. If anything, I will say I can't see my thoughts on this thing being any worse. I can't see myself adding more to like the con section of this review that I said already for this platform. If anything, I can see things kind of improving upon it, in which case I can give you guys, I can pin some comments down below if you guys are curious, because yeah, I might maybe eventually in the future get used to these handles and take advantage of this. I might find more unique, creative ways and practical ways to take advantage of these different channels in the foot plate. So my thoughts, if anything, will probably get better as time goes on using these things. But if you guys got any questions, comments, or feedback on this, please let me know down below in the comments section. If you guys like this video, please consider liking, sharing, subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you.